All right, everyone. Welcome to my ethnography project. This is going to be about my research process, and this was written by me, Andrea Morin. So the first thing that I put in here was our pre-step, which is brainstorming. When beginning the process of starting a research project, the best place to start, in my opinion, is with a list of research words and topics. As a person who is led mostly by passion, I decided that my topic would be about poetry and writing. So the list of words I produced before beginning my paper was this: poetry, therapy, mental health, creative writing, well-being, and counseling. Now the first step is going to be your introduction. The first part of the paper will begin with an introduction. In this introduction, you will be explaining the why of your topic and any background knowledge needed before the audience dives into the research. This personally is one of my favorite parts of the paper, as it allowed me to talk about how important this matter was to myself and to others. So my suggestion to a new writer would be to not be afraid to go deep. We want to know why you chose it, what you're looking for, what you don't know. And it's important to start with this so that everyone is aware of the base facts that you have before starting into the research. Now moving into step 2, you have your research methods. Now before beginning the research process, you will want to decide how you'll conduct your research method. You have qualitative, which is a more personal approach that allows you to express feelings, thoughts, and people in the moment, and you have quantitative, which uses a more numerical-based research. This allows statistics, numbers, and graphs or charts are commonly used. Now there are many subcategories to each of these methods, and it is important for you to explore all of them to find which are going to best fit your topic. This will help how you decide which articles, journals, or books that you're going to be using for your paper. The example that I decided to use was for my own paper, and I chose to do a qualitative observation and an empirical research method approach, as it allowed me to focus on the emotions and feelings associated with poetry. Because I was doing something that was more emotionally based, I decided to go with qualitative because that best fit my topic. I suggest you look for something that best works with your topic. Now for step 3, you have your results. There are 2 parts to this third step. I've broken them down into research and results. In the research aspect of this paper, you'll need to find sources that can give credibility to your paper and research. To accomplish this, I use a scholarly database. This is something that I would recommend to the next beginner of a research paper, as it proved to be a pretty useful tool for myself. Just due to the fact that it's hard to find open journals that are for free on the internet. And also, being a beginner, I struggled with a lot of formatting issues, and using a scholarly database, they often offer you a citation button, and so that helped a lot with my formatting. And so there's also another part of this step, which is the results, and these are always going to be the hardest parts in my opinion. It's important to remember that you will be synthesizing all of your sources in this paper. To smoothly put several sources together, you'll need to identify a strong similar theme in each piece that you find or cite throughout your paper. Finding the similar theme is going to help you make the transition between each of them a lot easier. This is important to remember because you have different sources. You will have to paraphrase what your findings are, and it's best to do that with similar themes. It's going to be a lot easier, I would say, at least. And so we're going to move on to step 4, and we have discussions. This 4th step allows you to focus on what important themes highlighted your research. This is where you discuss what your results meant to you and where you found a gap in the research associated to your topic. Remember that this is to summarize your findings and express what you found most important overall. This is going to be a lot different between the results and discussion. Results is going to be you simply stating what you found, and then your discussion is going to be where you can elaborate what those findings meant to yourself or to your research. So moving into step 5, you have your abstract. Now the abstract is going to be a summary of the findings of your research. You'll need to make a paragraph after you finish your research that has a broad overview of what you found throughout it. This is going to help the next researcher figure out if your paper is going to be relevant to their own work. And so the abstract goes at the beginning of your paper, though I do suggest that you write it at the end. because then you can actually put in all of the information that you found throughout your paper or that you included in your paper, compared to if you were to write it before. You have a very broad idea, but it won't be specific enough for the next researcher. And so we're going to move on to my very last slide, which is going to be tips for beginners. Being a beginner myself, I felt I needed to highlight some really important things that helped me out. And so the first one is going to be find a topic that you're passionate about. I feel when you're writing about anything, especially if you're going to be putting in the effort to research something for hours, that you should be passionate about it. It's going to make getting through the research a lot easier. So number 2 is going to be, don't forget to brainstorm before diving in. I know that sometimes you just want to start the paper and get it over with, but I think that it's important to take your time with brainstorming, because this is really going to help you figure out where you're going with your paper. And so with a strong brainstorming session, you'll have a good basis for your paper. For number 3, I have set a schedule to get in enough time to go through all of your research. Before you begin, just know that your research is going to be dense. There's going to be a lot of scientific words and jargons used from different fields, and it's better that you allow yourself the time to kind of learn those things and get through them than to feel rushed and not be able to retain what you need to. And then my 4th and final step is going to be looking for similar themes in the research. Just don't forget this while you're doing your results section. Remember at all times that you're looking for a very similar theme in all of your research. This is everything that I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening.